Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 29th of November, 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, annual inflation fell to 4.9% in October, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, pretty much taking off the table any chance of another interest rate rise when the Reserve Bank Board meets next week. That certainly gave a spark to markets. The S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.3%. Helped by those inflation numbers. The tech sector did best. Xero was up 3% and WiseTech Global jumped 2.5%. The big 3 miners all fell. So too the 4 major banks and Macquarie Group. Telstra, Woolworths and Coles were lower, though Wesfarmers jumped nearly 1%. Link Administration rose nearly 9%, while some of the gold stocks did well on the back of a higher price for the precious metal. Leader Newmont rose 5.6% and Northern Star was up more than 4%. Wasn't such a good day for some of the insurers, including QBE and IAG. Story number 2, plenty going on in global markets, and much of it stems from a couple of Fed governors' comments overnight. They've gave some pretty strong hints that rates aren't going to rise again anytime soon. The US dollar fell to 4-month lows. The Aussie dollar is buying about 66.5 US cents, and bonds continue to rally. If rates aren't going up anymore, then government bond yields might have peaked. Investors have already been buying up bonds, and the Fed's comments only add to the urgency. Wall Street and global stocks have rallied. The S&P 500 is up 8% over the past month, while the MSCI All Country World Index of Stocks is up 9% this month. That's the most since late 2020. Gold hit a 6-month high today. It's up 12% since early October. Bitcoin climbed back above $38,000 a unit. That's at an 18-month high. All eyes now are on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who will speak on Friday night, Australian time. Story number 3, plenty of corporate news around today. As always, Temple & Webster's share price jumped 15% after the homewares retailer spooked strong sales figures at its annual general meeting. Pathology company Healius is gaining friends among super funds after having a pretty poor couple of years, culminating with the chair stepping down on Tuesday. Both Hostplus and Australian Retirement Trust have upped their stakes. Today, Healius' share price rose 6%. It's up about 25% in a little over a week. And Fisher & Paykel Healthcare reported increasing revenue and profit in the first half of 2024 as the respirator manufacturer readjusts to a pre-COVID-19 trading environment. Its share price jumped 7.5%. Story number 4, Carnival Australia will pull 2 cruise ships from Melbourne after Ports Victoria increased docking fees by 15%. Carnival Australia's Chief Strategy Officer, Teresa Lloyd, said it was unreasonable for the state government to up the tax so quickly. More than 100,000 Victorians went on Carnival cruises in the last year, and the industry pumped about $380 million into the state's economy. Ports Minister Melissa Horne said the fees were raised by a modest amount to $32 per passengers from $28.50 to pay for maintenance at Melbourne's Station Pier. She said there was a record 126 ships booked to dock at the pier this year, and 105 ships had already booked in for financial 2026. And story number 5, Hamas and Israel are expected to release more hostages and prisoners overnight, the last day of a prolonged 6-day truce in the Gaza Strip conflict. Attention is now focused on whether mediator Qatar can negotiate another extension. According to Bloomberg, Israel has said the truce could be prolonged further, provided Hamas continues to free at least 10 Israeli hostages per day. But with fewer women and children still in captivity, keeping the guns quiet for longer may require negotiating to free at least some Israeli men for the first time. The total number of hostages released so far is 81. Those have been mostly Israeli women and children, along with foreign citizens. Separately, foreign ministers of the Group of 7 Nations yesterday called in a joint statement for an extension of the ceasefire and more humanitarian aid. About 159 hostages remain in Gaza. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 29th of November, 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. The top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.